Even if he becomes a vampire, he is still a paladin. Kuri couldn't refute the words. But since Mr. Paladin is not ready to become part of the vampiric race, Kuri won't persist stubbornly either. Prentice White won't offer any more help until Prentice White acknowledges the vampiric race identity within the Paladin's order. When Prentice White turns around. New mission released. The Paladin's order needs Prentice White to escort little Sarah back to Norland City. Prentice White received the task to escort little Sarah back to Norland City. Norland City is the border city of the Catfolk Kingdom. It has long been invaded and become a colony of the troll race. Nowadays, sending little Sarah back to that hellish place is simply sending her to her death. Kuri mentioned that although the situation is turbulent, this is indeed a request made by little Sarah herself to the Lunar Paladin's order, specifically naming Prentice White for escort. She also agreed to the request of the future half-cat race queen as an opportunity to establish friendly relations with the half-cat race. Setting aside other matters, can I consider this as repaying the favor for taking care of you before? Prentice White has not figured out what the future holds for the half-cat race. Little Sarah happened to push the door open behind him. Kuri saw that little Sarah had also arrived, so the escort task will be explained by little Sarah herself to Prentice White. So little Sarah's real name is Sarah Crimson. She is the second daughter of Queen Yadi of the original Catfolk Kingdom. During their last exploration of the underground passage, they accidentally uncovered the sacred bloodline. This alerted the half-cat race revival society to something unusual. After many twists and turns, they finally found the last bloodline of the royal family. After the defeat of the half-cat race, the remaining nobles of the half-cat race established the revival society in an attempt to reclaim Norland City and revive the Catfolk clan. The young man Fishbone standing nearby was sent by the revival society to invite little Sarah to come back and take charge of the situation. The Crimson family brought to little Sarah not only inherent glory, but also a lifelong responsibility that cannot be shirked. Therefore, no matter how difficult the situation in Norland City is, little Sarah has decided to share the honor and disgrace with the half-cat race. But is honor and responsibility really more important than one's own future happiness? In Prentice White's opinion, those are just hypocritical excuses. It is a hypocritical justice that sacrifices the future freedom of others for one's own power. The brutal and ruthless struggles among the nobility. Revival Society just wants to use little Sarah Princess's identity to gain more political leverage. Unexpectedly, Fishbone drew a knife in response. These foolish commoners slander the will of the Revival Society with convoluted lies. They deserve to be punished. Prentice White only wishes for little Sarah to live freely. A great battle is about to break out as swords clash. But it was stopped by little Sarah's shout. Although little Sarah is creeped out by both the troll race and the royal intrigue. But can one's own life truly become happy by throwing responsibilities and obligations out of mind? Little Sarah's greater fear is that after escaping once, she will lose something precious to herself. So I have decided that from this moment on, I will face my own destiny. Prentice White looks at the weak but determined little Sarah. He felt for the first time that facing fate might not be so frightening. But why did little Sarah choose to escort herself back, leaving a big shot from the Paladin's order behind, and specifically choosing the least capable person for the job? Actually, in little Sarah's view, Prentice White is not only quite capable, but also has a pretty impressive background. He has never talked about his own affairs with everyone, but little Sarah always feels that Prentice White is similar to herself. So little Sarah wants to take this opportunity to let Prentice White witness her facing everything from her past. Let Prentice White also re-examine his own past. So, are you willing to accompany me on this journey, friend? Okay, I got it. Crimson Blood domain within the border. Princess Moon meets Psyche with a trade contract. Contemporary family head Duke Mira. Mira tried to chat about the gossip of the Sky Radiant Paladin as soon as she sat down. "I wonder how Princess Moon feels about her own brother." The emotionless workaholic Princess Moon expressionlessly stated that she only came this time to facilitate the border trade between humans and the vampiric race. "Let's not get distracted by personal matters and delay the progress." How could the fake and flirty Mira give up the opportunity to flirt with the alluring black-haired older woman? Miss Princess Moon not only has outstanding beauty, but also personally handles even the smallest matters, truly earning admiration. After saying that, she did not forget to hold Princess Moon's hand. A handmade gift was brought to her. But Princess Moon faced Myra's speech that felt both like nurturing and recruiting herself. Princess Moon calmly stood up, expressed her thanks, and bid farewell. The cooperation terms are already clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Princess Moon by writing to her. She is currently busy with official business, so she takes her leave first. Mira watched as Princess Moon hurriedly left, feeling a lingering sense of reluctance, admiring her composed and calm figure heading to the negotiation with the vampiric race headquarters alone. "This is a different style from our own princess, Your Highness." Led Mira wants to collect and cherish them. Inside the dormitory of the Paladin's Order on the other side, little Sarah has packed her luggage and is ready to set off. Tuolin stopped the irresponsible Prentice White. He told Prentice White not to cause trouble outside. At the same time, he presented his sharp silver sword from his youth. Little Sarah walked up to make sure about the trip. Little Sarah, who was leading the group, regretted that she did not have a chance to bid farewell properly to everyone in the end. Unexpectedly, the sound of a bell rang out from around the corner. It was a farewell gift arranged by everyone in the base for little Sarah. Tuolin reminded little Sarah that even if she leaves the Paladin's Order, everyone will not forget their companions. If little Sarah has the opportunity in the future, she is welcome to come back and visit everyone. In the corner, Thunder Hobby and others felt that little Sarah doesn't like being sentimental in person, but they can only rely on these bells to convey their feelings. Kur silently asked everyone if there is still a chance to meet little Sarah. Linda looked at the bell in her hand with absolute conviction. "We will meet again, for sure." The former strongest Paladin King was being chased by trolls. He panicked and ended up running into a dead end. That day, the scorching sun was high in the sky, and yellow sand was swirling. After many days of being away from the Paladin's Order, Princess White's group finally arrived outside Norland City. But the Norland City, once the territory of the half-cat race, has now been replaced with troll flags. Nowadays, everyone entering and leaving the city needs to undergo inspections by troll race soldiers. Princess White and others can only disguise themselves as human travelers to pass through. With a medicine prepared by Fishbone, they managed to conceal the features of the half-cat race and barely pass through. But there are still many hidden sentries within the city. They need to remain vigilant before reaching their destination. Fishbone guides the team to a safe zone within the city. They plan to replenish their energy and continue on their journey. Fishbone was ordering when Princess White overheard a conversation nearby, which made him doubt the half-cat race's attitude toward humanity. Little Sarah explained that her great-aunt, as a half-cat race princess, not only possessed a rare atavistic lineage spanning thousands of years, but was also a beloved and wise ruler highly esteemed by the people. Her great-aunt, who originally cared for the people with benevolence and ruled diligently, should have led the entire clan to glory. But a negotiation for the future of the half-cat race turned everything into a pipe dream. The assassination of humans caused chaos among the half-cat race. Trolls took advantage of the situation and kidnapped other royal members of the half-cat race, resulting in heavy casualties. Princess White, a human, can only remain speechless in the face of this situation. Just as Princess White was about to speak words of comfort, a noisy commotion broke out nearby. It was a troll race soldier causing trouble under the pretense of searching for a wanted criminal. No matter how the shop owner begged and pleaded, Trolls are just a bunch of annoying things that are intent on defaming, regardless of right or wrong, only caring about doing as they please. When they see the shop owner's wife, they immediately retreat. Princess White cannot stand these scoundrels acting arrogantly, and wants to step forward to argue with them. The onlookers behind, facing their own people being slandered, are indifferent and wish to escape. Helpless, little Sarah activates her skill. After swapping positions with the boss, one strike from her made Troll unable to play with his hands again. This king-sized troll didn't expect that there would still be people daring to resist their wanton acts within the city. He urgently called for the backup of the defense team, but was attacked by Fishbone. Princess White and his team quickly evacuated, while Fishbone took the initiative to stay behind. In the end, they could not escape the city guards' encirclement. At this time, the female boss, who serves as the undercover liaison for the Revival Society, Little Yo-Yo, promptly came online. She led Princess White and others to run around and hide. The corner ahead is our meeting point. What? A dead end? Princess White and his associates are evading being chased by the troll race. They hid in the corner only to find it was a dead end. At this critical moment, Little Yo-Yo knocked on the wall, and a secret door opened. Inside the secret door, there was Princess Felix's personal maid, Nar, who had been waiting for a long time. When Fishbone and Little Yo-Yo were ordering, she was arranged to come and assist. After everyone was moved, they still chose to move to the underground base. Fishbone looked at the human uncle behind him, who acted as if nothing had happened, and opened his mouth to drive him away. After going straight on this road, turn right, and you will reach the West City Gate. Since the task of escorting His Royal Highness is completed, hurry back to the human city-state, and don't think about loitering around here. Princess White sees this little fishbone poking its nose into other people's business. The completion of the mission is up to one's own discretion. Without confirming little Sarah's safety, one will definitely not flee. I see Fishbone and Princess White facing each other with hostility. Little Sarah timely jumped out to mediate. This human uncle was invited by little Sarah herself, so she should decide whether he stays or leaves. Upon hearing that their leader, Fishbone, was being pushed out, unable to restrain themselves, they brought up old accounts. If it weren't for the humans inciting conflicts and killing Prince Felix back then, the half-cat race would not have fallen to this state. Hiding in the secret passage has already touched the bottom line. Going deeper into the camp might lead to a repeat of history. It looks like Nar Little Yo-Yo is also about to join the persuasion team. Little Sarah, however, suppresses with her personal experience and her position as a successor. If everyone cannot trust their close companions, there is no need to specially invite oneself to come forward and take charge. Fishbone had no choice but to flee the scene first. But he made it clear in advance that Uncle Princess White, if he dares to act recklessly, will be executed on the spot. Princess White looked around, not understanding, and asked little Sarah why everyone said that the events of the year were all a scam set up by humans. It was clearly the half-cat race that tore up the contract first, leading to the rift between the two races. Little Sarah Nar's shameless behavior shocked the humans. They also invited Princess White to delve into the camp to uncover the truth. There is both physical and testimonial evidence there, and the truth will be judged by everyone at that time. In the underground base of the Revival Society. When all the members of the Revival Society saw little Sarah resembling the former great princess, they felt that revival was imminent. Nar then brought Princess White. Let him look at the original map of the border division between the king and the human federation at the time. In the past, humans extensively destroyed the forests within the catfolk kingdom and dumped abandoned chemicals into them, causing many catfolk to fall ill. It was for this reason that Princess Felix rushed to the border to negotiate with humans. A princess of a country actually abandoned the throne that could be easily obtained for a straight man. Come and see how the handsome young man is as beautiful as a flower, and as precious as jade. He has such charisma. Once upon a time, Felix Princess had a brief encounter with Prentice White for a negotiation on the border issue between the two countries. During the meeting, Felix Princess mentioned the romantic relationship with Peach Bird that started with love at first sight. However, Prentice White, who seemed indifferent to romance, stated that the realm of love was illusory, and the only guiding light in their heart was following the laws of the temple to protect the ones they were meant to safeguard. Felix Princess expressed sympathy for Prentice White's lack of romantic interest. Little Sarah acted in time to intercept these letters, which are not official documents. Could they possibly be personal correspondence from Aunt Felix? The densely packed signatures on the envelope reveal the identity of the sender, as Sky Radiant Paladin. However, why did Andy choose to specifically leave behind the letters from this person, shocking little Sarah? She found a letter from Felix to the king in the mail again. In addition to greetings and well wishes in the letter, Felix Princess found herself increasingly heartbroken and preoccupied, feeling emotionally distraught. However, as the king symbolizes the nation and serves as a guiding light for the people, Felix Princess felt being swayed by emotions had caused her to lose the qualities needed to be a good queen. Therefore, she decided to resign from the position of first heir and princess, hoping to pass on the leadership role to someone more qualified. My aunt unexpectedly wants to abdicate the throne to little Sarah, but I have never heard of this before. Nar explained that Felix Princess had already made up her mind to abdicate the throne even before the human conflict escalated further. She was just afraid of disappointing His Majesty the King, so she had not handed in the letter yet. Princess originally planned to announce it to everyone after the negotiations ended, but she never got the chance again. Little Sarah doesn't understand why it chose to abdicate for that person. But what did that person do? He killed her with his own hands. The human paladin even takes pride in it. And then, they honor him as a human hero. Little Sarah is extremely angry at this point. What a load of bullshit paladin. Not even worth being a shameless scoundrel. Someone like him, little Sarah will never forgive. But Prentice White, the rightful leader of Sky Radiant Paladin, is currently in a state of weakness. Little Sarah would never forgive Prentice White for succumbing to the memories, causing the revered Sky Radiant Paladin to inspect the private letters of the foreign princess. He accidentally became the protagonist of the story. Oh, that's not my business. A few years ago, the temple did send Prentice White to convey goodwill to the half-cat race on behalf of the Human Federation. During the negotiations, Prentice White met the gentle and kind Queen Felix Princess of the half-cat race. I thought the conflict between humans and the half-cat race would be resolved quickly, but unexpectedly, there was a mistake just one day before the final negotiations. That night, our soldiers were injured and requested to meet. The half-cat race suddenly invaded the border and massacred the civilians. But clearly, as the negotiations between the two countries were about to reach a climax, Prentice White couldn't understand why the half-cat race decided to deploy troops at this moment. The purple burns and scratch marks on the soldiers are unique to the half-cat race. There are many doubts. The priest ignored Prentice White's proposal and insisted on going his own way. He demanded that Prentice White eliminate Felix during the negotiation meeting, although Prentice White strongly opposes it. But facing the hoarse requests of subordinates, and the repeated moral coercion and mental brainwashing by the priest, it made Prentice White make a decision in the most irrational situation. Prentice White asked Nar to know why the half-cat race raided the human border, but the outcome turned out to be different. That was the soldiers they sent to demand the princess, Your Highness. Clearly, there was no exchange of fire. But when they withdrew, they were ambushed by humans and suffered heavy casualties. As a result, they were unable to resist the invasion of the troll race, and their country was defeated. At this point, Prentice White, who once had an impeccable conscience as a paladin, was shocked and dismayed. Did the priest and even the temple know everything from the beginning? What does one's own belief in justice count for, if what Catfolk said is true? And no matter what the truth is, Prentice White is the one responsible for that disaster. He caused the destruction of the half-cat race, resulting in many deaths and the country being ruined. He is the mastermind behind being at the mercy of others. Sky Radiant Paladin is not a hero, but a complete villain. White Princess sarcastically remarked, "No matter what, a demon-kin will always be weak. They can never defy the powerful in the end. This is the most primitive law of the world. Not to mention that the era of Paladin King has long passed. Nowadays, White Princess Lasambo is our name, so those are not Princess White's fault. Come, accept our power. Go settle the account with the Human Federation later." White Princess saw Princess White's weakness and struck down with one blow. "Don't resist. Everything will get better. Is it true? Paladin upholds righteousness to protect the people. But he brought about the destruction and ruin of his own country. Is that righteousness considered right? What choice should one make for themselves?" Princess White chose to tap into the power of the vampiric race, disrupting the balance within their body. Upon gaining control of the body, their magic power rapidly declined, to the point where they couldn't even maintain the most basic spells. Since he has already transformed into a beautiful young girl, it is better to fill the stomach first before considering these deeply emotional and brain-burning problems. On the other side, in Norland City, the supervisor in charge, Karen, is still singing and drinking freely. Faced with the recent restlessness among the ants in the city, he suspects that there may be major actions taken in the near future. Unexpectedly, a subordinate reported that there is a special envoy outside seeking to see Karen. He was just about to dismiss those damn special envoys. Unexpectedly, a burst of bloody magic power swept over. I saw a vampiric race Loli in a purple formal dress softly greeting. "It's really lively. Are you all having a party?" Karen noticed that the newcomers might be noble members of the vampiric race, so he immediately changed his attitude and bowed down in submission. The Lolita, who identified herself as the second Miss Tina of Lifuno family, came to warn of the bloodbath disaster facing the troll race. Tina received an intel. The Psych's duchy and the 13 vampire families is planning to plunder Norland City, but now the troll race is fighting away from home with an inadequate supply of troops, so the situation is very unfavorable. Karen is facing the siege of the vampiric race, but is full of doubts. How could this little girl from the vampiric race have leaked military secrets in advance and betrayed to join the isolated and unsupported troll race? In just one sentence, Karen expressed her lack of understanding of the vampiric race. In addition to the queen, there are 13 other families governing the vampiric race. Each family rules its own principality, and even the queen is powerless. According to Sidus's temperament, if the troll race resists stubbornly, who knows what the outcome might be? It's better to evacuate swiftly, while the vampiric race army has not arrived yet to minimize casualties. The former Paladin King was publicly questioned for having impure motives. Who else can step forward to rescue him under repeated questioning? Here little Sarah is getting familiar with the member list of the Revival Society and the map of the base structure. On the other side, there is a crazy scene of plunder happening on the streets of Norland. The troll claims to have orders from the governor to forcibly collect double the amount of food this season. But the harvest season has long passed. Not to mention doubling the requisition of grain. Even the leftover food in the pockets of the half-cat race is not enough for their own winter needs. Trolls, however, do not care about the will of heaven. If they can't produce food, they will use people's heads to make up for it. Watching as the troll reaches out its claws, the little Nico girl screams for help with all her might. The half-cat race, like their own kind, are only making slow progress. Little Sarah doesn't understand why the governor suddenly started to increase the grain taxes, and those who can't pay will be punished. But Fishbone is accustomed to this. The guards always do as they please, using the excuse of increasing taxes and seizing the opportunity to abduct people. Princess, don't worry. Send someone to the scene to investigate. But little Sarah is still worried and plans to gather people to personally inspect it. Fishbone sees this and tries to stop it even more. If Troll finds out that the princess has returned to Norland, he will definitely arrange a citywide search. Little Sarah is the only hope for the restoration of the country, if a mistake is made. But little Sarah doesn't think so. A country is made up of the people. The first thing to do in rebuilding the country is to restore the people's confidence in us. If the people have no confidence in the country, even if we reclaim the land from the troll, we will only be kings in name only. Today, when the people are in trouble, if we just sit idly by, how can they believe in the royal family and believe in themselves when the country is revived? So little Sarah decided to contact the fighters and go to the scene to find out for herself. On the other side, Troll was killed on the scene by the cloaked figure. White Princess couldn't help but sigh that Troll's blood was extremely unbearable to drink. However, even though the taste is not that great, but for food that comes to your door, you can't afford not to cherish it. Amidst the flashing of blades and shadows of swords, the demonkin all fell to the ground. Trapped, the Nico girl still wished to inquire about the honorable name of her savior, as their cloaked figure changed with every transformation. White Princess returned her body to Princess White. No need, just go quickly. Huh? A person, a human? With a cry of surprise, the half-cat race, who had just been hesitating, were immediately surrounded by their kind. The crowd interrogated Princess White, questioning what evil intentions this human might have towards their kind. Enough! Is it time to turn against our own kind based on race now? Suddenly, a voice interrupted the crowd's interrogation. What kind of demeanor should the queen have to be considered as one of the clan? The clan members bully the weak and fear the strong. Then she will have to conduct some ideological education. The clan members keep changing the concept just to hold on to their prejudice against humans. Then she will guide the clan members to change their perspective and consider things from another point of view. As long as there is a slight wavering, it indicates that the Revival Society's identity has prevailed. Wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Inciting the masses to come out as cannon fodder, Revival Society. I'm leaving, bye. Little Sarah sees that she can't hold back the drifting hearts, so she reveals her trump card, the Sacred Bloodline. The tribe members discover Princess Sarah, who has been lost for many years. They will probably give her some face when she returns. Little Sarah made a decisive decision to start a speech, begging every member of the half-cat race to assist the Revival Society in eliminating foreign enemies and successfully restoring the country. The crowd, who had just wanted to flee, looked back at the miserable days of living worse than death over the years. They looked again at the confident royal family members, and decided to go all out, better to die valiantly than to live a cowardly life. The speech was a complete success in winning back the people's hearts, but at this moment, the reconnaissance team received news. The governor's office suddenly assembled all the troops and horses, preparing to search the streets. It seems that there is no more time for everyone to deliberate at length. Little Sarah found the troublemaker, who had just taken the lead. She overlooks past grudges and seeks support. She asked him to arrange shelter for the elderly, weak, sick, and disabled, and then led her comrades, who were still able to fight together, to defeat the troll race. The once bustling streets are now completely empty. Little Sarah looked playfully at the troll searching all around on the ground and mockingly asked, "Are you looking for something?" Karen looked at the girl on the high wall. He sneers at the Revival Society, ants hiding and fleeing until only one is left. Little Sarah confidently answers, "Yes, dealing with just one of you is enough." The prideful troll couldn't bear this mockery. A group of trolls gathered to attack and shoot little Sarah. After a blast and a heavy object falling down, it turned out to be only a bag of sawdust. Little Sarah, who was supposed to be shot dead, suddenly appeared on the railing and continued mocking. "You wanted to collect resources, right? Take them if you want." As the arrows kept shooting, little Sarah kept swapping the sawdust sandbags and fleeing. In just a short while, the trolls on the ground were overwhelmed by the exploding sawdust, causing chaos. But this was just the beginning. In human society, the storage of powdery substances is extremely strict because once they become too dense in the air, they can become dangerous. Since you seem to want it so much, then I will help you burn it. A tiny spark fell and caused a massive explosion on the ground. The once arrogant governor's troops. In the blink of an eye, only Karen remained. Karen was completely enraged. Just because of that little kid and your little clever tricks, you want to put me in a difficult situation? Stop dreaming. But Karen hadn't had a chance to wield the wolf's teeth in her hand. Princess White knocked him down with just one hit, making him unable to get up. Want to touch that girl? You have to get past me first. Little Sarah asked why Karen suddenly levied far more food than her own army needs. Karen faced Princess White with the blade pointing at her nose and confessed. Because the vampiric race army is about to attack. They are collecting food only for a retreat, and are preparing supplies on their way back to the main camp. Since the troll race voluntarily abandoned the city, little Sarah chose to let the troll go. I won't kill you, but you must lead your team out of Norland immediately. As for the issue of the vampiric race, we will solve it ourselves. The troll race is born with strong and combative qualities. One day, they found themselves running away with their tails between their legs and being ambushed by others. On that day, the half-cat race regained sovereignty over Norland City in one fell swoop. The troll race not only gained nothing, but also was driven out of the city. Unexpectedly, they encountered a vampiric race scientist family Jinx siege. The white-haired Lady Jinx went crazy and started to frantically attack as soon as she spoke. Escaping before the battle even starts? Is the troll such a coward? Karen just wanted to sell a pathetic plan to survive. Unexpectedly, Jinx struck again. Can't a big, clumsy troll defeat a group of kittens? Watching Karen, who looks like a bereaved dog, Jinx is not planning to waste time. If you want to leave, that's okay, but you still have to leave something behind. Karen had already handed over the Lord's Jade Ring when she sneaked intelligence as a special envoy for the Life family. At present, without the ring, even if Jinx's group captures the city where the vampiric race queen resides, they will not hand over the city's plan to their own leader. Damn! She was clearly outsmarted. But now, with the enemy knocking at the gates, Jinx can only choose to attack the city immediately and slaughter all living beings. The account with the Life family will be settled sooner or later. No, you all have to die here! An explosion rang out, leaving a trail of heavy casualties among the soldiers behind Jinx. Norland City's borders are now lined with ballistae, torches aimed at the vampiric race. Princess White took advantage of the chaos to frame Karen. It's time to fight back together, Karen said. Karen, who was inexplicably mentioned, felt that her days were numbered. Just now, the messenger didn't intend to clean up himself. Why do people blindly tell big truths to harm others? Before Karen could explain, Jinx swung her sword expressionlessly. Be quiet, no one wants to hear your explanation. Jinx looked at the strange combination of humans and half-cat race in front of him and found it amusing. If you want to use the troll race to buy time, you are just delaying the inevitable. And with limited combat power, the only way to win is to defeat the leader. Jinx confronted the reorganized team and issued new orders, quickly rallying the Legion. This person was once a respected and trusted former Paladin king. In the previous episode, he lied and framed the antagonist. In the end, the antagonist was killed with no chance of survival. One word, excessive. In front, it was mentioned that Commander Jinx of the Scythes family officially ordered the attack on the city. Princess White and others currently have limited combat power, which is very disadvantageous. Princess White takes the lead and chooses to defeat the leader to guard the city gate. Jinx strikes unexpectedly and swings down with a double-edged blade. Princess White quickly responds to resist the attack and then counterattacks. Jinx found that the human in front of him actually kept up with the speed of the vampiric race. A little surprised, but not too much. After all, he could not escape the fate of being destroyed in the end. In the moment the knife falls, Princess White's life is not guaranteed. Little Sarah activates the sacred bloodline Purple Lotus for emergency rescue. Although she successfully blocked the attack, she exposed her royal identity. Jinx turned her spear towards Little Sarah unexpectedly to carry out the mission herself. She can also bring a souvenir back for Master Mira. Be obedient and come back with me to the Crimson Blood Domain, little princess of the half-cat race. With that, Jinx quickly dove from a high position and landed a blow to take out Fishbone. She was about to take away the little Nico girl in front of her. She was intercepted by a blue lightning, and the lightning gradually receded to reveal the appearance of a holy sword. Little Sarah looked at the familiar weapon in disbelief. She looked towards Princess White. Princess White is surrounded by holy power. He transformed into holy power armor for the first time in front of Little Sarah. So Princess White has been lying to himself all along. The notorious armored individual in the half-cat race has always been lurking around himself.
So it was you who killed Aunt Felix, right?
Confronted with Little Sarah's questioning, Princess White appears pale and powerless in both explanation and apology.
Sorry.
Little Sarah's face paled as she kept moving back, collapsing in despair. Jinx launched a direct attack to break the stalemate. While her live commentary was indeed exciting and engaging, it's never a good feeling to be ignored. Now that little Nico girl no longer believes in the armor-wearing man, you should obediently return to the vampiric race on your own. Princess White covered the small cracks on Sky Radiant's armor, but did not retreat. You will not hurt little Sarah. A deafening noise. Pay attention and look at Paladin King Sky Radiant ahead. Transform at will. Through countless hardships, transform into a lowly. He actually did it. In the previous episode, the former Paladin King fought fiercely against the vampiric race, only to have their battle interrupted by a sudden appearance of a flag which stopped the conflict from spreading. Both sides halted the fighting and watched each other cautiously. They then noticed that a special envoy from the Loli-Can family, led by Xilinx, was launching an attack from a distance. Miss Xilinx immediately expressed a strong sense of unwelcomeness towards the elder sister. How could a lackey of the Loli-Can family be qualified to spout nonsense about the territory issue of Norland City? Xilinx presents the signed decree of Lilia's and the Lord's edict to demonstrate their identity and position. At this moment, Norland City is already in the hands of the Loli-Can family. Poor little Sarah had the upper hand, but now she faces interference from within the vampiric race. She's about to become a prisoner again overnight. The soldiers of the vampiric race are getting closer. Princess White tried to rescue alone, but received mocking taunts from the White Princess. Does Sky Radiant Paladin want to fight alone against the army of the vampiric race? Shall we help you remember the disastrous situation last time? Nowadays, Princess White probably doesn't think he can protect the Nico girl from the vampiric race army until she clinches the ring. But the casualties that will result from this cannot be estimated, affecting both the vampiric race and the half-cat race. Princess White hesitated. The holy power depleted, the blood-colored magic power burst out of the armor. Xilinx noticed the appearance of the blood-colored bat, pushed away from both sides, and then moved toward the armor. White Princess saluted. Princess White struggled to finally insist, begging Xilinx to return the belongings of Norland City to their original owner. But Xilinx is no fool either. If this is a command from our own princess, Your Highness, then of course there is absolutely no problem. But if he is speaking as a human paladin, then it's a different story. The vampiric race is loyal to the Lasambo clan until death. At this moment, as long as Princess White gives up the paladin identity and acknowledges the vampiric race lineage, then little Sarah and even the entire half-cat race will gain their freedom. Faced with Princess White's hesitation, White Princess taunted, saying that the atonement mentioned by the Paladin King was just a trick to deceive children. Merely abandoning the true intentions of the Paladin can save the half-cat race and make amends for their mistakes. You are hesitating even though it is so cost-effective. Do you want to make amends without paying any cost? There is no such easy thing in the world. Princess White chose to compromise in the face of the White Princess's mental attacks in the end. Upon hearing this, Xilinx expressed gratitude and knelt down. Welcome and greetings to Princess, Your Highness. White Princess, Xiaoji is impatient and repeats Princess White's previous request. As a cost for offending the half-cat race's territory, the vampiric race compensates by stationing troops to guard the city for 3 months. They are required to stay until the situation in Norland City stabilizes before they can leave.
Yes,
Princess, Your Highness. I will follow your orders closely. The war, which should have cost countless lives and caused great suffering, suddenly comes to a halt. The once timid and fragile little Nico girl also repeatedly teeters between life and death. The former Paladin King, who upholds the Paladin's code of ethics, uttered a single sentence that brought everything back to life. After the battle that day, the Lifuno Principality, who adhered to their principles, provided sanctuary for the Norland Kingdom. 3 months later, they all withdrew. Afterwards, Norland City returned to the half-cat race and was under the control of little Sarah. Little Sarah only knew that she was clinging to the relationship with Princess White, Princess of the Blood Domain. The other party hopes to treat the people well and become a wise and diligent monarch, but Princess White is indifferent to this matter. Xilinx Princess White, who is referred to as Princess by those around him, finds himself trapped in an infinitely entangled dilemma. Even though it wasn't voluntary that it turned out this way, after experiencing events big and small, he increasingly doubted what belief he had followed for more than 20 years. If he detested the vampiric race so much, then why had he been fighting under the identity of the vampiric race all this time? But he had to admit that his shameful character was exactly his true nature. Xilinx probably wants to pique Princess's interest by introducing the current situation of Norland City, with the troll race leaving the city just a few days ago. The half-cat race quickly bounced back and began rebuilding the town. Can you provide the opportunity for the resilient nation to recover? It is also White Princess, Your Highness, although seeing the half-cat race revitalized is a good thing. But White Princess is not one to flatter. Spending time on Xilinx is better than figuring out how to explain to the Lifuno family about how the city-state that was obtained so easily slipped away. Xilinx plainly stated that this mission was only to stop the expansion of the Cites family's power. The current situation barely achieves the goal through a roundabout way. Moreover, the current result is not too bad. Troll is gone, and the long-lost princess has returned, indicating that the revival of the half-cat race is within reach. Destruction is also a new beginning. The setting sun signifies both the end and the beginning. White Princess does not understand. Would it be acceptable to be rescued even by the much-maligned vampiric race? Xilinx frankly admitted that everyone has a different definition of justice in their hearts. No matter what status is used to save Norland, it is the same person who saves Norland. This fact will never change. Princess White recalled what his younger sister said many years ago.
Justice doesn't have a fixed definition. Brother, don't wait for others' answers. You have to find it yourself, right?
Even the young Princess White knew this simple truth. After experiencing so much, how could he forget? White Princess soared into the sky, spreading her wings.
All right, it's time for us to go.
Although she didn't know where to go, she was certain it wouldn't be here. She had one final task to ask Xilinx to complete. Little Sarah was dressed in finery once again, ready to return to the Crimson family. Xilinx came to offer congratulations and also deliver Princess White's instructions. Princess White only left congratulations for little Sarah on the bright red team uniform. Little Sarah held tightly to the team uniform that should have been discarded. The idiot who should have been despised, but little Sarah just couldn't bring herself to hate. And then little Sarah was notified about the ceremony, looking forward to the future time and time again. Hold on tightly and never let go, because in this error-filled world, I hope you can keep smiling all the time. No one can hurt you anymore. I want to change. I want to become stronger. Noble vampiric race Loli. Why would you do such a great favor to your big sister? After being away from Norland City for several days, Xilinx finally returned to the Crimson Blood domain, Lifuno Manor. As soon as she turned around, the second miss of the family was already prepared to question and hold someone accountable. This trip to Norland may not have been successful for the Citus family, but they also didn't take control of Norland City. Could there have been a change in the middle? During the conversation, Tina lightly lifted Xilinx's chin and asked her where her loyalty lies. She noticed a unique scent emanating from Xilinx. Tina instantly poured her heart out. She chose to let Xilinx go. By the way, recently Citus family executed the Rodney family for treason. It seems that the Citus family is not to be trifled with. They were cautious and quick to uncover the mole after just one setback, showing decisive action. Now they must be even more cautious in planting pawns. Xilinx retreated after receiving the info, leaving only Tina, who murmured softly, "His Highness is toying with others' emotions. You are being indecisive. This is not right." In the urban high-rise, White Princess sneezed. She secretly wondered who else was cursing at her at this hour. In the blink of an eye, Princess White arrived at the principal's office panting. Curry looked at the weary Princess White and asked if he needed to have a light drink. The appearance of the blood vial instantly lit up Princess White's eyes. Bounced back and forth. The blood bottle fell and shattered, and Curry was also knocked down by White Princess.
Oh my! Don't be in such a hurry.
Little White Princess just misses her aunt so much. White Princess, who has not eaten for a long time, can't bear to hear these words. In White Princess's eyes, only Curry leaping around and the glowing red veins.
Perhaps the taste of royal blood isn't bad.
Curry tied up White Princess's long hair. This little girl's magic power is so depleted that she can't even maintain her appearance. Auntie feels really sorry for her. What happened? Noble vampiric race Lolita. Why did you pay such a big gift to your aunt in the end? In the previous episode, the hungry little White Princess slipped and accidentally trapped Curry while trying to grab the blood vial. The delirious little White Princess is about to attack Curry. Curry delivers a straight output with a heavy slap. Do you, this little girl, still want to compete with the big sister in eating? You're still early, it's 800 years too soon. White Princess was woken up by Curry with a slap. She immediately took care of herself. She silently breathed a sigh of relief as she watched the gradually disappearing traces. This time, she finally restrained her aggressiveness and acted like a human again. White Princess came to her senses and realized that her own stomach was barely manageable. But the magic power in her body is still not enough to transform into a dress, thus covering her white body. Curry quickly covered the scene that the audience, and even the master, didn't want to see. Princess then took White Princess to a nearby gathering. 2 steps later, Aunt Curry did not disappoint everyone as expected. After dressing up little White Princess, she went crazy taking photos. But returning to the topic, Curry asked what gains little White Princess had from this trip to Norland. White Princess is no longer being proud at this moment. The Norland journey made White Princess realize that there is no absolute justice in this world. Whether it is the vampiric race or the human federation, no one playing with political power is clean. However, even so, Princess White will also have something to persist in. Right or wrong should be judged by oneself. One day we will find our own justice. Curry shook her head helplessly, as this child hasn't figured it out yet. Then you will continue to hone your skills in Source City tomorrow. Originally, the intelligence department found after investigating the Lanyu incident
that not only was Lanyu closely connected to the ancestral god religion, but also privately engaged with many unknown organizations within the Radiant Paladins Order. Now all clues point to Source City in order to avoid tipping off the enemy. Kuri plans to assign White Princess and 2 others to secretly investigate. The bright moon is high in the sky, the gentle breeze blows. Somewhere in the city, there is also secret trade happening. Internal. Confirm the task content. After repeated confirmation, is it necessary to lay off Princess White? The old man opposite, however, stated that the era of Sky Radiant has long passed, and it is time to clear the stage for his believers. Moreover, the current deputy leader he left behind, Inzi, has been seduced by the lure of good luck and is ready to take action. Then the position of Paladin King should also have a new guardian. The conversation ended here. Internal immediately set out without asking further questions. The old man gave a faint smile and said, "Then I will trouble you. What is the reason after all? Let the most trusted partner draw a knife against oneself." In the previous episode, it was mentioned that Princess White was sent to Source City to investigate the ancestral god religion. In this episode, Princess White meets a bickering couple who are also traveling on the bus. Princess White is still curious about Kuri. How did she discover the genderless Golden in the cafe? Linda keenly noticed something approaching rapidly towards the vehicles. When she turned around, she saw a large number of infernal creatures outside the window, appearing out of nowhere. Those creatures violently crashed into the vehicles. The human-sized, horse-sized giant spider flipped the bottom of the car with just a few moves. In the mist, Golden took the lead and wielded twin blades in battle. However, the number of spiders on the scene is too great. With a large number of civilians present, blindly engaging in battle will only lead to a situation of heavy casualties. But in the next second, the infernal creature in front of you is split open by blue lightning technology. Golden is stunned, looking at the Sky Radiant Paladin who just revealed their identity. Surrounding people also found the suddenly appearing Paladin King to be reliable. The cheers haven't even started, and Paladin King is already focusing closely on Linda. He launched an attack with a single arrow step. Linda dodges and complains at the same time. This guy might be swollen crazy, wanting to sacrifice himself. Unexpectedly, the next second Princess White rushed out to confront Paladin King head-on. But this side is the masked Princess White. On the other side, fully armed Paladin King, for a moment can't tell which one is the real creeper. Paladin King slashed down with a sword. Princess White had already circled around from the front to the back. This imposter creeper's attack speed can only be described as sluggish, even slower than Manda, who had just joined the army a year ago. In that case, then let Princess White see for himself who you really are. Serious Paladin King kills the fake creeper but is ambushed. The once closest sister and companions. They not only support the fake creeper, but also bow down as vassals. This. Could it be that the script was mixed up? In the previous episode, it was mentioned that Princess White and his team are preparing to go to Source City. They encountered an infernal creature attacking them on the way. They were rescued by a sudden appearance of the imposter creeper and faced another crisis. Princess White stepped forward to confront them just as they were about to uncover the imposter creeper's helmet. Suddenly, a sword pierced through the deputy leader of the Radiant Paladins Order, Inzi. Inzi, who used to be Princess White's right-hand man, naturally stood by the imposter Paladin King. He immediately accused Princess White of sheltering the demon-kin who attacked the paladins. Princess White hesitated. The paladins swarmed forward. Linda transformed into wings and swiftly carried Princess White away. With Linda's help, Source City arrived in no time. Princess White still wanted to find an opportunity to figure out the situation. Paladin rushed to the city gate from behind. Inzi waited in silence for the arrival. Amid the chatter of the crowd, the imposter creeper, dressed in armor, accepted the Paladin's order reward.
Even Princess Moon came here to welcome them. Shout and praise for the return of our elder brother. Just a few lines of dialogue to confirm the return of Paladin King to the masses. It seems that not only his younger sister, but even his former colleagues didn't recognize Princess White when he returned. On the side, Golden stands confidently with hands on hips. Maybe they all knew in their hearts. Isn't that Creeper? You should know that after Sky Radiant died in battle, there was turmoil within the Radiant Paladins Order. Recently, there have been rumors that the selection of the new Paladin King has caused even more violent conflicts among those vying for the position. But if the Sky Radiant Paladin were to return at this time, not only would it put an end to the infighting, but it could also disrupt the selection of the Paladin King and prevent the behind-the-scenes power grabbers from consolidating power. This could be another possible outcome that satisfies all parties. Princess White was speechless. The primary mission of the Radiant Paladins Order is to protect humanity. But nowadays, it has evolved into a scale of power. Did Linda attack Princess White at night? A night with wind, rain, lightning, and thunder. The flow rate is as eerie and terrifying as a haunted house like in. At midnight, a cold and aloof lady knocks on the door. Will you open it?